Eagles?
They have a defense. I mean, all summer we sat at this table, or we were remote, or wherever we were, and we took our shots at this Cowboys defense. I particularly called that defense putrid, and we almost had a counter of how many times I said the word putrid.
It was putrid day on Good Morning Football. I remember that.
Everything was putrid about Cowboys defense last year.
Yeah.
Not only are they good, I think they're exceeding expectations. They could be really good because they're great at takeaways, but they get to the quarterback. Micah Parsons is a revelation. 2 games into his NFL career, I was like, this guy could do something. 3 games into it? All right. How did he fall all the way out of the top 10? He's that good. Then you got Osa Odigizua, who was flying all over the field, another rookie. And then there's the Trayvon Diggs story. I mean, look, in the draft last year, Jeff Okudah went 3 overall. C.J. Henderson, who was traded yesterday, went in the top 10. This guy might be the best corner in his entire draft class. They are opportunistic. They are flying all over the field. And here's what I like about them. They are young. I'm mentioning Parsons and Diggs and Odigizua. Anthony Brown out of Purdue is not a 10-year veteran. These are younger players. And it's that crew that gives me hope and confidence that this Cowboys defense can at least hold serve with some of the bigger teams in the league and say, hey, we're here. Tampa Bay didn't go crazy on them. Yes, they put up a lot of yards, but that defense showed up when it had to. And then last week against the Chargers, they were solid. They were even better here. Jalen Hurts looked very confused. The running game was non-existent for the Eagles. They could wear beat Dallas T-shirts all they want. They weren't beating anybody with that defense on the field. It was that good. I was that impressed with the Dallas defense. I'm not even talking about Dak and how good he looked.
Yeah. I agree with you. But what stood out to me was how physical they were. They were out there hitting on both sides of the ball, and you could just feel it. Like if you just took the decals off, you could see that was a division game. They were bringing the heat all day. And the other thing that I love to see Zeke was running angry. Him and Pollard. So I love to see that run game. And they did exactly what they wanted to do. They controlled the game. And with that defense and a run game like that, you can control games amazingly. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. I mean, they're a top-tier team in my mind right now.
Do you think that's a myth? People who talk, it's a division game, you hit harder. Do you think the Cowboys are hitting harder this week than they were last week against the Chargers? Is that a thing that we talk about, or does it really happen?
I think it really happens, and I'll tell you why I think it happens. Okay, so when I got traded to Philly, we played Dallas earlier that year, and I thought Dallas was not that good, and I lit them up for, decent amount of yards. I was like, I love playing them. Then I played them in Philly in a division game, my first game. Wow. I'm talking about all game long, and I was like, is this the same team?
Yeah.
So division opponents, especially these two.
Well, Dallas T-shirts probably don't help.
Yeah, little bulletin board
Those
material.
T-shirts might not age well. I liked them. I think they should wear them again next time. What did we learn from this game? We learned Dallas is way better than Philly. This game could have been a 40-point win. There was a weird thing with Dak, the touchdown on the goal line, and then the fluke touchdown that Fletcher Cox got. And Peter, if you want to talk about people like were overlooked in the draft, can we talk about the 2016 draft? In the 4th round, they found a quarterback named Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is not really good. He's not exceptionally good. He's great. He's great. Let's just set the stage for this. Dak Prescott is tearing up during the national anthem. Every single network there is not only reporting on the injury, they are going to the spot of the injury on the field. This is where Dak broke his leg. I'm standing there right now. He does the pregame. He did it last week. He'll do it next week. A lot of emotional baggage, and then a rivalry game in the home stadium for the first time. He was excellent. Like, one of his cleanest, most efficient games he's ever played. Ball barely hit the ground, completely in control. I don't have for you today, he's in the top 5 or top 8, but, he's in the top. Maybe we can chew on that this week. It's not just this thing. And Philly fans, you make a lot of jokes about Dak this and Dak that. The joke's on you. This guy's not going anywhere for the next decade. He's excellent, and he looked great last night in a night where there was a lot of emotional scar tissue and literal scar tissue in which he said, I was going to get a praying hands tattoo on my ankle scar, but since I knew I'd have to tape it so much, I might mess up the integrity of the tattoo. That's how thorough this guy is. That was a real report, and then he came out and just cleaned the Eagles' clocks. Dak was awesome.
You were calling the defense putrid in the offseason.
Yep.
I was saying I don't want Dak to throw 400 times a game. Can we not see that they're not going to win that way? And then week 1 happened, and he threw 58 times. In the 2 games since then, he has thrown for 53 times combined in those 2 games. That's what I want to see, that balance. And I love, we discussed this at length last week when it was Pollard or Zeke. No, Jerry Jones has it right. It's Pollard and Zeke, what they do together as a tandem. I don't care who goes out there and starts, but they obviously had juice yesterday. This is just the second time Zeke's gone over 100 total yards in the Cowboys' last 9 games. By the way, both times have been against the Eagles. So I just think they're obviously going to take pressure off Dak. His offense clicks and works better when it's more balanced, which we've seen through the past 2 weeks. And Trace, to get back to the defense, you mentioned all the players, how young they are, how impressed you are. How much credit does Dan Quinn deserve?
A ton. And he has completely given them confidence, but also a new energy to their game. And the defensive scheme that they're running seems to be working as they're getting all these takeaways.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Dan Quinn was an addition to, obviously, Parsons and all these other players on defense.
Yeah.
But to change the scheme completely overnight and say, no, we're going to do this totally different. So we're going to run this Seattle defense that I ran there, which, Golden, you were there for, and have a different. What kind of energy does Dan Quinn bring to a defense?
He brings a young man's mentality. He's fun, but he's serious. He knows his material, obviously. And when I had him in Seattle, I really enjoyed being around him. And then when he went to Atlanta, he took them to a Super Bowl. And then now in Dallas, I think it's going to be a great relationship for them.
But is he like, he's like a rah-rah guy, right? Because you guys are talking about like they're hitting harder, they're whatever. Like, is that Dan Quinn influenced?
It has a piece of it for sure, but he's fun to be around.
Yeah. I mean, Hard Knocks, I remember, like, he's very blue. Like, he swears a lot, and I think that's relatable for players. I remember Peter used to come back from trips to Atlanta with these crazy tales about him blasting Rage Against the Machine and having free throw contests. And all. I mean, like, people dig him. They're obviously hit for him.
Competitive. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And Nick Saban was on while Trevon Diggs had the pick 6 on the Manning telecast, and he's like, that's what we try to teach him. I'm surprised he fell to 51. Yeah, so are we. Trevon Diggs, awesome player.
Such a great game.
Draft gem right there.
Based on what you've seen through 3 weeks, are the Cowboys contenders in the NFC?
It's too early to decide, but I do like where they're heading and where they're trending, and they're getting back to what I think they should be doing anyway. Run the ball, and then play action pass and screens. And if you can control the game by running the ball and you have a good defense, you can just get ahead by 10 to 14 and milk the clock. And they didn't have to do that this time, but I love seeing Dak. I mean, he didn't throw it 40 times. He didn't need to. He had good quality throws, and he was just dropping dimes out there. But look, Zeke was running angry.
Yeah.
And I love to see it. I mean, so he's definitely hearing the noise, outside noise, and he said, I'm going to prove y'all.
People are going to say it was the Eagles. There's some deficiencies there, some question marks. What would you say to them?
I'm going to say it's a division game. It doesn't matter what the record is. When you're playing a division game, things turn up a notch. And you can definitely see it in the first half. I mean, both teams come out and they were hitting hard. So I was impressed with Zeke and the offense, but also the defense. I know I'm not throwing it to Diggs' side for a few weeks, I tell you that. I mean, he's got, 3 picks in 3 weeks. I'm not throwing it his side for a little bit. I'm going to let him cool off a little bit.
What do you think, Peter?
I'm going to also, this is hot take, I'm going to actually wait as well, okay? But not even for the next few weeks. This schedule, to me, is very interesting for the Cowboys because they had the Buccaneers the first week, and that's a Super Bowl champion in their building. They lost, but they played valiantly. They beat a Chargers team in LA. They have their home opener. They blow out a division rival. I feel good. But look at their next 6 opponents here. The Cowboys can go on a little run, and let me explain why. Now, I know the Panthers are undefeated, but the Panthers also were not a playoff team last year. The Giants are struggling. I'm saying, there were no McCaffrey, and Giants struggling. Patriots do not look like the Patriots of old. Bye. Get your rest. Get your legs. Vikings, they looked good last week. They did not look good the first 2 weeks. Broncos, they're 3-0. They've played nobody. Then the Falcons, who are 1-2 with their 1 win against the Giants. It's conceivable the Cowboys win all of these games. And then they're sitting pretty and they're feeling good. And then we will then go into the stretch where they have to play the Chiefs. And then they have to play other teams that are going to be ready. The Raiders come up after that. Fascinating to see how they respond. If they're reading the headlines, how great this young defense is, if they're going to get full on themselves. Do not lose to the Panthers without Christian McCaffrey next week. Like, this has to be ascending every single week because last year, what would happen is they'd put up a lot of points, they'd win, they'd put up a lot of points, they'd lose. The defense is going to be the key. If this defense can keep them in games like they did, I mean, Philly did not belong on the same field as Dallas yesterday. And that's not because of Zeke and Dak. It's because that defense completely suffocated Philly's offense. If they do that, and they win a couple games here, it's a nice cushion, especially in the NFC East. We could be talking about home playoff games for the Cowboys in January.
You've been pulling up that same schedule for
That's it.
weeks and weeks and weeks for the season, and you were almost like, let's get through these couple of games, and now, then we'll have an easy stretch.
Yeah.
Are you super impressed with what they've done through those 3 weeks to make them think, are they contenders?
Conceivably, they could be 3-0 if Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady. They went into Los Angeles and beat a good Chargers team, as we know now, if they went into Kansas City. And then last night they embarrassed a division rival. Cowboys are for real.
Well, it's like, you were saying yesterday about the Broncos. People saying, well, they haven't played anybody. You're like, well, they played the Jets, but they beat them 26-0. You're supposed to beat up the teams and they beat them. It was like a clear separation of talent last night. Like the Eagles threw some punches, but the Cowboys, I feel like, win 8 out of 10. Like they look that much better. As far as like, this is what we do now. Because I think this is a fascinating time in the NFL season. It's not week 1, it's not week 2. We've gotten a nice taste of these teams. 3 weeks in, like we can start to get to some opinions. And this is what we do. Like, do we trust these teams? Do we trust the Raiders? Do we trust the Cowboys? I still, when I start to look at them as the NFC and I'm making up imaginary games of this person, because we'll have to with the Cowboys schedule, I'm seeing them at SoFi Stadium against the Rams, and Cooper Kupp just scored his 3rd touchdown, and the Cowboys safeties are saying, I thought you had him. I still think they got some questions to answer on defense. Like, a really good young linebacker and a ball-hawking corner does not a championship defense make. I don't know about the safeties. DeMarcus Lawrence, we haven't said his name. He's their best pass rusher. He's going to be out for a week still. I think they are the class of the NFC East. I am not ready either to say Buccaneers, Rams, even Packers. Like, it's a very early. But this is week 3. This is what we do. And I think it's appropriate. We've gotten a good taste.
Where does Dak come out in this conversation for you? Because, well, then why wouldn't they be NFC contenders in the NFC?
Secondary, the defense, that type of thing.
I get that, but if they have the run game that can support and they have a good defense, even when those 2 things aren't working, it comes to the quarterback to put the team on his back. Don't you have faith?
Yeah.
That in those situations, that if the safeties are like, ugh, don't you think Dak Prescott has proven, maybe not week 1 because he didn't win that one, but hasn't he proven that he can come back, that he's poised, that he's got the talent, that he's got the weaponry to overcompensate for both of those? Isn't that what we want when we talk about what a contender is? A quarterback that can lead a team?
Okay, that was very eloquently asked, but can you tell me what the safeties would be saying again on the Cowboys? And they might. Listen, they can win a shootout, yes, but I don't think the Rams or the Buccaneers have to.
He gives me confidence.
Sure. No, he's awesome. The Cowboys have like 8 awesome players, like out of 22, maybe even 9 or 10. Some teams have 2. I just don't. The defense has questions to make. A linebacker and a corner are great. We need 9 other dudes.
What about the Packers? You think that, I'm not comparing Aaron Rodgers to Dak Prescott, but they're low. You have questions about their defense.
For sure.
You can't bring up then.
No, I bet I have the same questions with the Packers.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm going to take it to you because you took Dak Prescott as your MVP before the season, before everyone else did.
I just thought he was going to have to throw it.
3 weeks into it, Dak Prescott, you're looking pretty smart right now. What do you think about it from what you've seen?
To be honest, I didn't buy the defense. I was very much with you in the putrid column, and I was like, he's going to have to throw 58 times a game, and he did that week 1 up against Tom Brady. And he might be in those situations again, and maybe it breaks his way because he's not going to face Tom Brady every week. I much more prefer him not to win the MVP and for this team to be balanced and give it to Pollard and give it to Zeke. I'm just trying to, there's no holes, so what are we worried about with them? You know what I'm saying? Is it the coaching maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
There's some unproven stuff with that. And the secondary. Yeah, but there's, we can poke holes in everybody. Sure. Peter, what do you make of the Eagles? Back-to-back losses, and the schedule's not cute going forward.
No, it's not easy. And, all offseason, we were like, I don't know if the Eagles are going to be good this year. There's a lot of youth on this roster. It's a first-year coach we're not that familiar with. I don't know. And then they came out week 1, and it was like, wait a second. They beat the Falcons 32-6 in their building. They're physical. They're mauling. And it's like Nick Sirianni for president. Things have settled a little bit. And I think last night was like, all right, what do they call it in Seattle? Tell the Truth Tuesdays? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I felt like that was a Tell Your Truth Monday last night. Like, this might be what we're dealing with this season. Jalen Hurts had a great first week. He has struggled the last 2 weeks, and last night was not his best day. And Eagles fans are watching this like, had Wentz, we didn't want Wentz. We had Foles, we didn't want Foles. Is this the guy? I'm not sure this is the guy either. And he's going to have a whole season to prove it. He's the quarterback 1. Don't get it twisted. He is going to make or break his NFL career with Philly on this season. Remember, he was a second-round pick. He was not a first-round pick. In the Eagles' next year's draft, can we see the full screen, what the Eagles have awaiting them? If this season does not go as planned,
oh, wow.
They have 2 first-round picks, but guess what? The second-round pick that they have becomes a first-round pick if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps.
You're going to get there?
Carson Wentz has played 98% of the snaps. So they might have 3 first-round picks, and those first-round picks are Miami, who's 1-2, the Eagles, who are 1-2, and the Colts, who are 0-3. The Eagles, looking at 3 picks, 1-2 team, a 1-2 team, and an 0-3 team, might very well be able to package that together, either A, to move up to the number 1 pick, or B, go and get Deshaun Watson if this thing settles itself. So to me, it's like Jalen Hurts is your quarterback for now. He cannot play like that last night because it was not a statement game where, hey, I'm the guy long term. That's just the truth of it in the NFL. Not for long if you lose like that on Monday night.
And I will say, Golden, before you go, I mean, the schedule, you brought it up in our morning meeting. Chiefs, these are their next 4. Chiefs, at Panthers, Bucks, and at Raiders. Ooh, yikes.
Woof. Look, I think it's hard to to win in this league for sure, but it's a collective effort. I think we need to put Jalen in better situations. I think he needs to play well. I think receivers should not fall down.
Okay.
Maybe it's still a pick, but I want to see the Eagles get back to a balanced offense.
Sanders.
Yeah, run the ball. You have to establish the run, and you have to try to establish the run at least. I don't want my young quarterback throwing it 40 and 50 times. I just don't. So fine, you get
3 carries the running backs had.
I mean, that's absurd.
3.
I mean, be creative. You don't think you can run it? Be creative with some RPOs or reverses, jet sweeps, some way to get the line of scrimmage moving.
Our resident wide receiver saying, run the ball.
Run the ball more.
Yeah, it's a rare sighting. But I remember in Seattle when we ran the ball very well, I felt like I was wide open when we threw it.
I know.
You pound the ball, and then you bring that safety in the box, and then that's when you hit them big. And so I want to see that happen.
This is the big come down for Philly, and there's no city that comes down like Philly. This morning, it's ugly. It's all Howie Roseman this and Howie Roseman this and Jalen Hurts this and Sirianni this. And I can only, look, Nick Sirianni came on the show before the season started, and we were really impressed with this almost childlike enthusiasm and how earnest he felt and the T-shirts and stuff. And then, so they beat the Falcons, and he says, we don't look at it like 17 games. It's 17 rounds in a fight. All right, well, in the second round, you lost, and then this one, you lost 10-8 and got knocked down. And this is why it's cool to wear the T-shirt, which I think is harmless and positive and go team. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't think like me. And the game wasn't even over yet. The Cowboys tweeted out a picture of the T-shirt, and it said, beat by Dallas. And now everyone talks about the T-shirt. I think it's awesome. It's a genuinely earnest, positive thing that does not say Dallas sucks. Let's beat Dallas. You didn't. You got housed. You got housed on national TV. So it is a fight. You guys got to answer the bell now. I'm not giving up on the Eagles. I'm not giving up on Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts can play. I think he had a rough night, and I don't think he's quite ready for prime time. I want to check on him in a month because, like you said, Kay, Peter's made this point that the Cowboys' schedule is so soft. God, the Chiefs is brutal. Yeah. It sucks. They play. I know the Chiefs. The Eagles. I'm sorry. I said the Chiefs because they're playing the Chiefs. The Eagles is brutal. So I want to say, check in on Jalen Hurts in a month. He doesn't have a month. He has a week. He has 6 days.
You're looking at those defenses for their next 4, but how about Mahomes, Sam Darnold, who looks a lot better. He's running in touchdowns now. What is that? Who else do they have? Oh, a guy named Tom Brady. Anybody heard of him? And Derek Carr, who's looking like an MVP campaign is launching. Right. My thing is, okay, so Jalen Hurts might not be the answer. Where's their defense? They could not handle anything that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott and Zeke and Pollard and everyone threw their way last night. This Eagles defense is not playing any better than the offense, at least from what we saw last night.
They got a gift at a defensive touchdown that will look great statistically, and Dak just messed up. But I honestly, I'm not giving up.
Last night was rough.
I don't want to give up because if we're going to hype their schedule over the next month, which is really hard, I'm not even need to pull it up. The last 6 weeks of the season is nothing. It's Jets and Giants and Washington and nothing. So if they want to make a run at this thing, I'm just saying I think in December I still believe in them. I think at the end of the year they will start ripping off wins. Maybe they squeak in. I believe in Jalen Hurts.
Here's how things are shaking out in the NFC. What you talk about here a lot at the breakfast table. The Cowboys are now in first place. They look like they're in first place. They belong there. The Eagles in Washington, they're 1-2. And then all the way in the basement, the winless Giants.